A bit of a sneaky, exciting match that's up for us. It's a interesting set of teams that both have a significant degree of upset potential. If you've just tuned in, then we're going to be having Gambit youngsters versus Sprout be our second best of one of the day to decide who will go into the winners bracket face off against Copenhagen Flames. Maui, you've actually been very high on Gambit youngsters, and you've been talking to me all week about how, oh yeah, they're going to be the dark horse. Wait for them. They're going to take some big scouts. They're going to make something happen. What makes this horse so dark?
I think it starts with Shiro. This guy he's a rising Russian talent. And in the last 3 months, I'll pull out some stats right here. In the last 3 months, he has a 1.27 rating, which is that's crazy high.
Yeah.
Even though the level of competition isn't always the highest for these lower level teams, I can list some teams for you that he has destroyed that probably will surprise you. He's done very well against Forza recently. He
Yeah.
had a 1.76 rating against them. He's destroyed some other teams in the Russian scene, like Spirit, or I guess CIS team, Pro 100, Espada. All of these teams are also just. It seems like everybody in the Russian scene now respects this kid a lot. He's even done very well against some teams outside of them in the European scene. Against Big, he posted up some really good numbers. Against Copenhagen Flames, Endpoint teams we've seen recently at Home Sweet Home. He's been obliterating these guys, consistently posting above 1.3, 1.2 ratings. This guy is such a consistent player that it's going to be very exciting to see what he's able to do today. Because I actually look back, and I guess at this point we'll just reveal what the map pick is. It will be Inferno. I looked at the 19 games that Shiro has played in the last 6 months. Only 3 games of all of those on Inferno did he have an under a 1.0 rating, and they didn't win all of those other games. They were losing some of them too, but regardless, he's just on top of it over and over and over again. He's such an explosive opera for this team, and he can come alive at any given moment. And Sprout, they are really going to have to test him today.
Absolutely. It's going to be necessary for Sprout to come in at their highest level of form because that's something which maybe wasn't there last week. Last week, we saw them drop to endpoint 0 for 2. And as much as I would say endpoint impressed us last week, they're not really a team without weaknesses. They're not really a team which you would favor over Sprout, which by now in the tier two scene especially, it has some prestige in the brand name. It's a team that you expect to go to a top four of a DreamHack Open, that you could see them getting to a final of a DreamHack Open. You'd always have to keep them as even a dark horse to potentially win it. So when you're a team like that, losing to Endpoint in a 0-2 fashion, and no disrespect to Endpoint, but let's be honest, they haven't been making many DreamHack Opens other than Anaheim, which was through the UK Premiership. So there is always this big question mark that I have to associate with them. Now, admittedly, they are with a comparatively newer lineup. Snatchy coming into the lineup changes a lot of things. They also, I think they changed another player as well. Was it was something with CH in his name? I can't remember actually. Mika? You know what? Maui's checking that up right
I'm
now.
not. I'm not quite sure. I'm not quite sure.
Yeah.
It looks like Oscar left recently from
Yes.
Sprout,
But you know
and
what?
then
We
also
actually have lineups
Keto.
to. There we go. Yeah, D
Yeah.
shot.
So
Yes, I was
Sprouts.
thinking me shot.
Oh, okay. Well, Sprout's going. Sprout's gone through a few changes lately. Snatchy, their latest pickup, he's been on the team for 2 weeks now, so not too much time under his belt under this roster. But he was one of those players when VP was on their last legs as a Polish team. He looked rather impressive. I think this is actually a pretty cool pickup for them, all things considered. So we'll see if his opping ability fits better than Oscar's did when he was on the squad. But the one thing that concerns me about this matchup the most isn't necessarily the rosters on paper. It's just that Gambit aren't necessarily the best Inferno team, and given that it will be headed to Inferno, that's not necessarily the best map for Shiro. I mean, it's a map where, with good utility, given that this is Sprout's most winning map, they have an 86% win rate in the past 3 months. That shows that they probably have protocols. They have consistency. They have ways to deal with opposing players and oppers. Some of the scalps that Sprout has taken lately. Japaleno, they've played 3 times. They took down Skade, and Dennis Law was a player that we were pretty impressed with the other day. But actually, when he played against Sprout just at the last home sweet home that they played off at against, Denislaw had a very bad game. So maybe they have ways to deal with oppers like that who are usually popping off against lower level competition, but maybe can't handle the pressure of a team such as Sprout.
Hmm. That's true, but Maui at the same time, I'm actually looking through the matches that they've played, and not a single time have we seen Sprout actually picking Inferno despite their win rate. So even though you're saying it's a very good win rate and everything, they've only played 7 maps in the past 3 months, and given how many online tournaments they've been a part of, that's actually saying quite a bit. Generally, it is the third map decider when Sprout is playing. And I would have to say that although the win rate is good, and I would say that map wise, if you look at statistics, you'd have to favor them. I will add the caveat that maybe they themselves don't feel that confident in the Inferno, because generally when you have a win rate like that, you end up picking it. So I am slightly surprised to see that.
Yeah, it could be them kind of mind gaming other teams in which they are able to, allow it through a lot of the time and they are very comfortable playing it. If you actually go back to all of 2020 and not just the last 3 months, they've actually played it, I think, 17 times. So it's over, or no, 14 times, sorry. So
Yeah.
14 times in the year. So that's, that's I mean, they just kind of let it through always, and they've still had
Yeah.
a good win rate when you scale it back to that time frame also. So it's not like they're just kind of it's not like they're bad at it or anything like that. And I know what you mean by that they're just kind of letting it through and just
Mm,
happen to be winning on it. But they've shown that they can win on it, and that says a lot. Even if it's not your pick, it can sometimes just go in your favor that if it's your second best map or third best map, that sometimes is all teams at a higher level need, because Astralis, they wouldn't always pick overpass per se, but they sure as hell would win it a lot.
yeah.
So it's maybe one of those kind of things for Sprout, and just maybe that just shows how deep their map pool is, that it doesn't even need to be their map pick and they can do it. Gambit youngsters, on the other hand, they don't have as good of a win rate though. They were going to be on 50% win rate in the last 3 months, only 8 maps played. So this is actually their second lowest played map of any team. And despite the praises I was singing of Shiro in one hand, that doesn't bode well for me in this game. Sprout, they're a more well-drilled team. They have more experience across the board. They are not the youngsters in this matchup.
Now, and I'm sorry to the viewers if I seem like I'm down on Sprout, but I've got a few statistics opened up regarding Inferno, which are slightly concerning for me. And they could go both ways, don't get me wrong, they could go both ways. If you replace Sprout to be the current lineup that they are playing with, they haven't played Inferno a single time so far. Now, in all fairness, they've only played 10 maps together. But in those 10 maps, Inferno is not a single one of them. I will add the other caveat that so far, they haven't had a single 2-1. So whenever they win, it's by a 2-0 in the best of three. Whenever they lose, it's by a 2-0 as well. So given that fact, they haven't actually had it come down to Inferno at any point whatsoever. Against Endpoint, it would have been an Inferno decider last week, but they ended up winning that one out. Against Virtus Pro as well, I'm looking at the match play, it would have been, actually, no, never mind. Inferno was banned by them in Virtus Pro against Virtus Pro in the second phase. So I wouldn't really know how confident they are, especially that one ban. That really makes it a little bit questionable for me. This was back in Home Cup week number 3, where Sprout was able to do 0 VP. Sprout banned Inferno against him, and I know that VP probably just have a better Inferno, so Sprout maybe doesn't feel entirely confident playing against them and all of those things. But those are all very legitimate question marks that you have to put when you are looking at a map like Inferno, which is as team dependent as it is. Now, on the other hand, we've talked a lot about Sprout. Let's talk a little bit about Gambit. Gambit are a team which, as much as we'd say that, hey, they haven't had a very good record on Inferno, if you look at the teams they're playing, Forza's Inferno is probably the best map, in my opinion. They took them to overtime. 17-19 against Forza on Inferno. That's a pretty good result. Namiga, not that great of an Inferno team, but a team with definitely some firepower in it as well. An overtime against them. They even beat out Forza once before. They beat out Skate as well. It's still concerning to me. I don't think Inferno is a very strong map for them, because they did lose to Copenhagen Flames in a very domineering fashion, which shouldn't be happening if you have the firepower that you're telling me that they have. So I would have to generally put question marks on both teams here. But that also means that we haven't seen much from these teams on Inferno. So there could be some very exciting stuff to come in.
Yeah, so I think at the end of the day, the level of competition for Gambit youngsters might be a little bit higher than that of Sprout. But
Hmm.
like you mentioned, the fact that they've never played, Sprout has never played with this 5-man lineup on this map is a little bit concerning. I think going into this though, I would favor Gambit youngsters. I think that
Hmm.
they are more likely to win in this one. Note, this isn't betting advice, so everyone in the chat, please just relax if something happens to you guys. But because this is not, this is a big disclaimer.
Um,
People have somehow, some way, it feels like people get our words twisted and consistently blame us sometimes for what
do you see
happens in
what
these
I'm pointing
matches.
at, Maui? I'm pointing at your
Is that
Twitter
I'm assu-
handle so that they know who to go tweet and who to flame on Twitter afterwards if they lose their bets. Guys, listen, remember, Maui Snake is literally a CSGO analyst, all right? He is a professional. This is how he makes his living. So he deserves the flame. You know, it's what you sign up for when you're trying to be an analyst slash celebrity, isn't
Well, it
it?
kind of is. It kind of is. People will criticize the things you say, and when you're wrong, they'll point it out. But when you're right, people just say you're doing your job. So I'll still say that Gambit youngsters are favored in this game. I would definitely predict Gambit youngsters here today.
Hmm.
So I mean, you could take that to the bank if you want.
I feel like when you're right, people say you've stolen opinions.
Now, actually, thankfully that criticism has never come my direction. But
Yet.
I'm just yeah. I mean, thankfully, I haven't met too many harsh critics thus far. I think my worst critic has been Twitch chat, when I'm just telling them exactly what's happening in a match as it's happening. So we'll see. We'll see if that happens today, though. But my picks for Gambit youngsters. Who are you going to be going with?
I'm confused because Gambit youngsters have broken my heart in the past. So I'm kind of wary, but at the same time, you know what the difference maker for me is, Maui? The difference maker is that Gambit youngsters are in the ESL One Road to Rio. And that means that you're consistently playing against teams like Navi or Winstrike, depending on which group they were in. I think they were in Navi's group actually. I'll check that very quickly. But regardless, whichever group they're in, Winstrike's a
They
great
were in
team. Group A?
Team Spirit, Forza. Yeah, they were in
Yeah,
A. Navi's in B.
regardless, Spirit's a great team. Forza's a great team. Windstrike is looking amazing. So all of these teams, which are very, very good on paper, and you're getting to practice against them in officials, that's completely different from Sprout, who I know practice against these teams, but in scrims. I know for a fact Sprout gets to practice against some tier one teams even, but scrims are a very different beast. Officials are a very different beast. So that additional 10% that your players are able to pull out in a game itself, I'm not 100% sure if that'll be there from Sprout, which is the only reason why I'm actually going to go for Gambit youngsters. Even though I think as a map goes, I think Sprout is probably better as an Inferno team.
It's hard for me to say just because they haven't played at this 5 yet. If I really do a deep dive into it and see just how proficient Snatchy is on the map in the past 3 months on Inferno, or in the past 3 months on Inferno, so for reference, he has a 1.22 rating in the past 3 months. So Inferno, he literally hasn't played it. So like there's no data actually for him. And in the past 6 months, he has a 0.89 rating. So Snatchy, who's supposed to be the star of this team, is actually not the best Inferno player. In the past year, so we're going way back, he was a 0.97 rating, which is well below his just all map rating, which is actually a 1.04. I mean, when you fall off almost a whole point, a whole tenth of a point in rating on a map that you're now playing, and you haven't even played it in the last 3 months on an official, and in the last 6 months you were terrible at it, it's hard for me to give Sprout the edge in this one, just because this guy that they brought in that needs to be a star for them has historically not been the best player on this map.
There is a caveat to that as well, in all fairness, is that the teams Snatchy was probably playing with weren't that structured because could you check and tell me what team he was playing with? Because wasn't he on one of the Polish teams, AGO? Wasn't he on AGO?
Yeah, he was on AGO. Yeah.
Yeah, and AGO, we saw them on Inferno. They don't look like they have very much structure on Inferno. So that can be very detrimental to an opera at times as well. So, you know, I agree with you. It's a very valid criticism that you are levying against Nachi, but potentially a very different style of team that he's coming into now with German compatriots. There could be this crossover that translates itself into some, you know, something of beauty coming in. Snatchy on the AWP could find himself a second win on the infernal map that has generally been his demise. And I actually I think that is something that we will see, to be honest. I think Snatchy will perform much better than you're used to him performing, simply because Sprout has historically been better at setting up operas. If I look back to teams like players like Serson, if I look back to players like Oscar, who admittedly didn't really end up well, but if I look back to players like Serson, he was generally set up for success in the sense that he could go for something insane and not really care because his teammates would be there to trade. Keto would generally be there to trade. And they knew how to work off of that. So maybe with that kind of freedom and maybe with that kind of load taken off his shoulders, we can really see Snatchy perform. But I will still favor Gambit youngsters, and that's the pick I'm going to be going with, and that's the pick that with which we will go into the game with. Maui, let's take it away. Knife round was live. I think it might actually be finished even, as I'm looking at it. Yeah, knife round went to Gambit, and yeah, there you have it. Youngsters, stop calling them youngsters.
Maybe if they make it to the top 25 or top 20 ranking, then I think you take away that title. But as of now, they are going to be just Gambit youngsters. Maybe when they win a major like Gambit proper did, that's finally when Gambit will take that name away from them. But here we are on the pistol round. Gambit youngsters, after winning the knife round, are going to be starting on the CT side here. We can see one set of utility for the CTs on Axile, just the kid in the smoke, pretty standard stuff. But on the T side for Sprout, we have actually the raid boss being brought out from Dennis on that Tech 9, and it looks like it's going to be a very fast play coming up. The nades come out, Dennis is forward, he finds one kill, Daika is able to find one of his own, but there's still two players, or three actually, from Gambit on this B site.
Shiro is ready, but Axel finds Dennis, and that's a big one. Shiro comes in from the side, and the star has not really shone too bright yet, but Inters is here to keep their dream alive. Farvan, who's so far been the replacement star for the team, can't get anything done. It's Speedy to come in and find two.
Fast round, and Gambit youngsters had such a great setup in that one. It seems like they should have been able to take it off of that alone. They did a full stack towards there. Maybe one player rotated in. I'm not quite sure how that five-man just setup was constructed exactly, but it was looking very good for Gambit youngsters as those two players were still on the bomb site, but Sprout, they still managed to find the shots, and that's just how pistol rounds run sometimes. You can have the right setup, you can have everything, but unless you find headshots faster than your opponents, you will sometimes lose out. But this round will be all about the headshots here, as Gambit youngsters are on 5 deagles. We'll see what they are able to accomplish with those, and they will likely be cycling through their smokes as well.
Nafani wants to peek out. Can he get the instant headshot though? Doesn't look like he's gonna be given a chance, unfortunately. 4-man setup on the A site with players rotating off. That could be a mistake. It's all up to Axel to find that first deagle shot. Peeking out might have given the information that there should be a stack on A, and with that you can see more and more of Gambit's players getting ready to rotate. But however, Sprout, they're not sure yet. The in-game leader doesn't know what to call. Speedy is still thinking about where do they go, and they're playing this nicely. They're making sure they clear out angles to check where there is or is not a stack. And Gambit, they have gambled incorrectly. They've gone all the way over towards the B bomb site, and it seems like Axile was coming through, finding Dennis's head, takes him down. Axile will not be able to find more, but Gambit, this might just be a save call from them, or maybe some exit frags.
Just like that, though, Sprout should be able to take this round here. A pretty late bomb plant, but they do, in fact, get it down, of course. And youngsters, they will move forward with perhaps 4 deagles. They'll still press on forward here. And this MAC-10 from Favin has a good chance to catch them out here. This was a good position from him. He actually moves back to the apartments, and he challenges Nafani, and Nafani takes him down. So some good damage being inflicted. Let's see if it continues. Ooh. Supra now is actually able to find a kill on to Daika, and now it's just Snatchy and Speedy remaining. They have to keep these guns alive because this is actually, in fact, a lot of damage being inflicted from the Gambit side. Sprout will still take the round, but they don't have a lot of economy to work with. Actually, oh, what? Snatchy died to the bomb because it was planted wine side. So that is 4 players falling on the side of Sprout. Gambit youngsters, I don't think they're going to force anything more into this round, but they have a very good shot at taking this one, as the utility from Sprout is a little bit lacking. It's still decent. It's still actually pretty good, but there's not all the Molotovs you would normally see on an anti-eco.
Even if they don't win the round, damage should be really good regardless. I mean, look at that though. Exile, first shot comes in. Speedy is down for the count. Where is Inters playing from though? He's playing from the graveyard, and you have Mac-10 over towards the B-bomb side. Diha takes down Shiro. That's an important kill to find. He was the player that Maui has been hyping up so far. Unable to find a frag though. Exile and company waiting for any presence here, otherwise it'll be time for them to rotate back. Diha also waiting for Inters to peek through. There should be a slow peek where he takes second point of contact, but that's not even necessary right now. Supra distracted them for quite a while. Inters didn't take the chance to quickly capitalize and find the kills. He didn't have the angle. And with that, you see Gambit, they're rotating back. They have preemptively decided to back off yet again. This might be a mistake though. Sprout, they are staying firm. They are staying astute in their decision to head over towards the A-bomb site. Inters, like this off angle, but can he find his skill? Can't. Diha takes Inters' life away, and there you see it's a retake with a 3v3. Damage is very valuable at this stage. But the armor being kept alive might be equally so. Sprout. Oh, actually, they've got themselves an AK and a Galil. They very much considering going for this. Supra's down, but that's just legal. Galil and AK saved into the next round wouldn't even be terrible, to be honest. Galil's almost as good as an M4A4 anyway.
Yeah, we'll see if they're able to inflict any more damage once again. The members of Sprout look like they are treating this with a little bit more care. Nafani, though, is actually pressing on forward. He wants to find some damage, but Favin takes his head right off. That is a very nice shot from him. Instant headshot, and it will allow Sprout to finally build a little bit of economy here on another anti-eco, keeping 3 players alive. Now, Gambit youngsters, it's time for them to show what they're made out of. First gun round here, Shiro will be equipping the op, and he looks poised and ready to be moving towards, we'll see, I think it looks almost like he wants to go apartments with this kind of positioning, but maybe just a boiler hold will be what comes out from him.
Shiro heading very swiftly in towards the apartment side to get some control, but he's not feeling confident to peek all the way forward. That's the problem. You need him to be feeling confident right now, Maui, if you're a fan of Gambit youngsters. Nafani already smoking off Banana, and will actually adopt the longs position to make sure that if they're coming over, then Supra will have a very easy angle to play from instead of actually playing from the broken wall, which is what you were used to seeing teams do. Now, keeping 2 players over on B is also still a very justified decision, but Axile, he'd really like to be able to get aggressive here. Shiro, no utility on him other than just a smoke, so you're relying on dry shots to come through. Another smoke from Speedy means that that's a full 45 seconds of a blockade coming in over towards Banana, and they can't get any control. And look where Axile was. Dennis is able to find him though. Dennis waiting inside the boiler room, expecting that late push, but with 40 seconds left, this is becoming very tetchy for the terrorist side. They don't know where they're going to be going, and the smoke thrown earlier on will not be particularly useful. Nafani is brought down. The refrag is not there. Speedy used that smoke perfectly and made me eat my words. And with that, the bomb will be planted on the A side, and Gambit youngsters will be forced to say, Sprout, they look like they'd completely lost control of Banana, but you can see, nicely played from them to reclaim.
Yeah, throwing that smoke up at the half wall. Actually, we'll hold that thought for just a moment as Dennis is trying to find this last frag into this round. But looks like he's backing up. Just good play individually from Speedy there. He recognized what was happening at Banana that they smoked down, so he just clears it one stage at a time. The half wall smoke is a very good response to that bottom Banana smoke. It will either one, just push the player back who's jump spotting at car, or two, it will separate the two players at Banana, as it's rather unlikely for them to both play up close in the cubbies. Usually that's just too risky because one Molotov can just force that into such a difficult situation for the both of them. So in isolating those players, he is able to find those frags moving forward. But Shiro actually managed to get an op in this round, and he found an opening pick very early on. He had to be the win condition for his team into this round, and he finally gets himself on the board. He takes down the opposing opper in Snatchy, and now he is rotating all of the way over towards this B bomb site. This is a good play from him because it does look like Sprout want to hit this B site. He's thinking about boosting his teammate. Looks like Super maybe wanted it, but Shiro, he just needs to set himself up, and that's exactly what he's doing. He will move himself towards Coffins in this situation and see if he can lock down this side of the map. The boost over the smoke, though, comes out. He checks it out, and he doesn't see anyone. It just was disassembled right before his very eyes.
Shiro yet to really find much success in this game. 4 rounds into it, needs to start chiming in and coming alive. This would be the round to do so. Moves across the smoke, finds one, backs off. It's Super to use a distraction and come through to take Disha apart. Falvin and Speedy still on the bomb side. Speedy's moved through and found Shiro. That will be the death they needed to get the bomb plant down, but it's still a 3 versus 2. Shiro and Super finding the kills they need. Speedy makes it 2 more. Nafani's been located. Falvin will finish him off. A lot of damage dealt, and that could be significant going forward. At the very least, round is kept humble, but with the economy they had, for now, that is not really an option.
Good attempt there from Gambit, but very well played by Speedy, I have to say. It looks like he's already showing a lot of his game sense, a lot of his veteran presence in the server. He pushes through that coffin smoke right behind Shiro because Shiro, he knew that Shiro was still in front of it. He knew that Shiro was still holding the bomb site itself, and Speedy is just really taking over this game in a way that I did not expect, but that's really great for Sprout because the CT side, it should have been difficult for them, but off of 2 very strong individual plays from Speedy, they now have a 5-0 lead, and they have a decent amount of money to go with it. And this time around, Gambit youngsters, they will play a slightly different setup towards Banana, and it looks like Axile is just getting destroyed at every which way, every turn. Seems like he's just finding bullets in his side or his face, and now it just leaves Shiro onto this bomb site with inters. Shiro has to come up huge once again. Will he be able to find it here as he pushes towards ports? This is a very aggressive play from him here. Will he be able to find a multi-frag? He finds one here. He takes down Speedy. He's looking for more, but Snatchy is holding his angle out, but he's able to find the kill onto him as well. Pulls out the USP, looking for more, and oh my goodness, Shiro finding a double kill with the pistol, is able to secure Gambit their first round here.
It felt like we've been waiting a while for him to come through with a hero performance, and he's finally found escape. He's put on his costume, and he has come here to save the day and get the girl. He saved the day, but there's still a ways till the girl comes in. 5-1, still another 14, 15 rounds left for Gambit youngsters to acquire, but it's a good start for them. Axel has a UMP, unfortunately. Nafani will also be finding himself a little bit limp on economy with the farmers in his hands, and utility not really something that he is particularly happy about. Inters has to be careful. This could be a faster play coming in from Sprout, and here you go. Axel's ready with the UMP. They know that the firepower shouldn't be fantastic. They only kept 2 players alive on the Gambit youngsters side. Axel thinking of pushing in through the smoke, but instead he's able to re-peek out. Inters finds one. He's repositioned. Can he get more? Supra, however, will come in from behind to make sure he's got the back he needs. Disha continues this fight forward. That Molotov will spread, but Supra coming in, takes him down. Supra with some fantastic plays so far. He's been very good at supporting his teammates in these crux positions where he needs to come with the flank, where he needs to come in from the side, and he needs to be a distracting force. And that's been something that I've really appreciated about his play so far.
Yeah, he's looked good for them, that's for sure. Now, Sprout, they will have to buy only Deagles in this round. They want to buy in the next round. Disha bought a Deagle, actually probably not the best decision from him, but he will press on forward and is instantly taken down. But Snatchy, he actually was able to take down Shiro at top mid. So that is a huge win for Sprout here already. They take down the opposing offer. They get some map control. It will be up to Axile. He finds one. He finds a second. Looking for the third. He'll get that as well. Good hold from him, securing the round now for Gambit youngsters. Favin remains. He's been a pretty solid performer for Sprout, but this is a very tall task for him. One more kill would be actually amazing. Will he be gifted that? No, he will not. Inters takes him down, and they recover that off of a very nice round from Axile. He's been getting picked off a lot at that A side of the map, but he comes alive at a very important time. They are eco-fragged, but if he were to fall here, this easily could have been Sprout's round. So good spray from him as he picks up his 5th, 6th, and 7th frags.
I mean, at the same time, even if they are just eco frags and Sprout wasn't going to win the round, if you lose your gun there, if you lose 2 more guns, listen, we know Gambit doesn't have an economy, and they need it. Shiro needs to be on the top for that very reason. No scope next to the wall. He's using it like a shotgun, backing off like he doesn't feel the flames. This man is a living embodiment of Bruce Willis from Die Hard. Axel jumps straight down, a Molotov coming through. Inters will drop the bomb, and Axel will be felled another time. Fortune Gate sight, not always lucky for him, but Inters will find the same fate awaiting him. Diha takes down Nafani, and we've seen this story before. The story ends with a happily ever after with the happy 2 CTs who have had their stepsisters and stepbrothers killed off. Will go away and wait for the round to end. I like to think of life in fairy tales, Maui.
Okay.
I was told I wasn't putting enough of a positive spin on things, so I give them a happy ever after, you know?
Ah, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, very good recognition from Sprout in that round. They knew that Shiro's op was towards B, and it seems like this is the game for Sprout. Just avoid Shiro at this point. After that 4K on the previous gun round, Shiro, they are just trying to move away from him as quickly as they identify where he is. As soon as Sprout knows that he's at that B bomb site, they went for a very quick A play. They even charged through a Molotov at one point just to keep the pressure on these A players. And Axile and Supra, it just wasn't enough between the two of them. They fall, and they could not stop that oncoming Sprout push. Very good read from Sprout there, and maybe that's it. Maybe that's their game plan, just to avoid Shiro. But it did a very good job and was very well executed.
There's a very aggressive push from Dennis, and that'll be given quite a bit of fruit and reward as Inters has been brought down quite low. Unfortunately, not quite brought down entirely. That nade does the trick, though. Inters quickly killed. Nafani is low as well, but Disha is pretty much as low as you can get. And Shiro on this A site are about to come face to face with each other. Shiro. Actually, that's Snatchy to worry about, but Speedy will be the one to fall. And there you have it. 2 versus 4. Shiro coming alive, repositioning towards long. A single AWP, really making it feel like there's a lot more of them in the vicinity. Falvin and Snatchy, at the very least, they should be able to find a kill, hopefully. If Shiro is able to shut them down, that becomes very problematic, though.
Smoke fades, and Snatchy gets the better of Shiro. He was tagged through the wall there, takes so much damage, but he's down to 4, and it's enough to find the headshot. So just Axile on the A site remains. He is trying to play around these angles. I'm not sure based off the radar if he's on top of Graveyard or what at this point. No, he's actually in Pit. Okay, that's weird on the radar, but it looks like he will just be playing this off angle. It's very strong, as it usually will get the better of anyone peeking from those apartments, but he's going to be mollied out at that big hit now. He swings out, finds the kill on a Snatchy. That's the bomb down on the balcony, though, which will buy a lot of time. It actually might be too much. Favin, he recognizes his win condition, though, and knows that he has to take the fight to these Gambit players, but with Nafani dying right there, Supra will just play back, and Favin will be forced to just save the op into the upcoming round. The Sprout money is not looking too good, so this op is actually it's a small consolation prize for Sprout into the upcoming round here, which Snatchy will move and take forward. But Shiro has looked so good as with his own op, and it's going to be an op versus op duel. The one win condition is Sprout's op. Shiro had to come up another time, but he wasn't able to do it. Will Snatchy be able to do one better?
Absolutely. It really does come down to seeing whether Snatchy can finally start to deliver at this point. If he can come through on the other side and get that same 4K that we had, get that same kind of effort that we had. Yes. Same time. Snatchy. He is in that very stressful position of being on the terrorist side, which is obviously completely different to trying to get a few kills on CT side. You need to get so much more aggressive and make it look so much easier. And that is a tragic scenario to be finding yourself in. Snatchy boosted up, taking the peak, can't find the shot though. And with that is forced to withdraw as the smoke comes out in front of him. Snatchy waiting for the peak. Supra and company are not going to let anything pass them, though. They do have a couple of good flashes available. Nafani does not have a smoke, though, so Snatchy's been given a bit of a chance. Shiro is already here. He can come through. Shiro flicks over. Can't quite get the kill. Nafani and Supra finish things off with a great spray down. Snatchy comes in to get only one, but he is traded away. Shiro is ready, and Inters will not let Disha come in for anything sneaky in the back lines. That looked a little bit too difficult for the side of Gambit youngsters. They just kept getting smoked off, and then, not Gambit youngsters, rather, for Sprout. They just kept getting smoked off. They just kept getting eliminated, and at the end of it all, Gambit youngsters with a great crossfire able to finish things off. Now, though, we see ourselves without the AWP for Snatchy. We see ourselves with full AKs yet again. A faster play coming into it. Shiro playing with what utility he has, but he has already forfeited over long control on this A site. And Maui, things are looking tricky because Snatchy's already found Nafani and taken him down inside that B banana.
Duels keep coming out. Inters now will be challenged here, but there are so many players he has to deal with. He's only able to find the one frag, and now Sprout have a 4v2 advantage. But Supra, this is a very timely smoke from him. He may be able to play around this in order to find a couple of kills, but because of this push from Banana, that might come in to stop him. Oh, Snatchy actually turned the wrong way, and Supra, he tried to recover, but it will just be Shiro in the 1v2. He has an op for this circumstance. I'm not sure if he really is going for this one, given his position and how far away he is in this round. It looks like he's already opting for the save, and Sprout doing a great job outmaneuvering Gambit in that round there. See if Shiro's able to find any damage with this gun, because every gun that he takes away will still be very valuable for his team moving forward. And if he does stay alive on top of finding a few kills, that could be really beneficial for his team. But Sprout will find themselves on their 7th round. Moving into round 13, it will be up to Gambit to try to take back the half.
You could see how easily Gambit gave up control over Arch side, though. And Sprout, they had a great read on things. They'd figured out that, you know what, early on, Gambit actually quite liked to have one-person position slightly closer towards that B-bomb side. Let's try and take mid-control very fast. Let's try and exploit that situation. If we get unlucky and there's 3 people on A, you know what, let's duel it out. We'll have the trades there. And you could see from their positioning that they were fully ready to be killed and trade away, especially on the players who are going in towards Arches. On the basis of that, they're able to monopolize the map and completely, like you said, outmaneuver the side of Sprout. Now, Shiro, he has that Molotov, he has that flashbang, but more than anything else, he has 4 players on the A bomb side who are really hoping that they won't be going to B.
Yeah, so this will be all up to Shiro here, but it doesn't look like Sprout will be approaching him too early. Favin has good control right now at the top of Banana. He hasn't quite cleared sandbags yet, I don't think, so this actually does not look like it's going to end up with a Sprout hit towards B. They will fake the control there as they molly out sandbags and smoke CT. This might just displace Shiro, but unless they commit to it, he'll just be able to keep his op alive moving forward. So I think he's read this, though. I think he knows this is a fake. This is a very strong read from Shiro. Actually, ooh, maybe even smarter play from Sprout. Have to give him credit for this one because it looked so obviously like a fake that Shiro said, okay, I'm just going to move away from this. I don't actually think you guys are going for any kind of play on this side of the map. And it looks like Sprout might just have a free entrance into this B-bomb side at this point, unless Shiro returns. But there's only a single smoke on Sprout. If Shiro went now, he would have had a chance, but I think it's a little bit too late at this point. The CT smoke comes out. Shiro will have to recognize the error in his ways, and this is a free round for Sprout here as they get full control of the B side. Very good calling on the side of Sprout.
Now you say that they get the B-bomb site for free. I raised to you the other side of the story. Shiro gets to save his op for free.
We'll see what implications that has. If Sprout win the upcoming 14th round in convincing fashion, and take out Shiro in that, it'll mean that Shiro will have a bye into the 15th round. But the problem with that is just that means you're giving Sprout the 9th round also. So that's not a good theory to hope for if you're Gambit. It should have probably just been Shiro fighting to the death, all things considered, because just kind of the win condition for the entire match, not just the round or the upcoming round, but think of the context of being down possibly 5 to 9 at any point in this game.
You know what, Inters, he didn't want to let them have that $300. Maui, you've actually played actual matches. I haven't, unfortunately. Do you still lose $300 if you kill a teammate?
You don't lose it, actually. Now, what happens is that Sprout, randomly, one of their players will get $300.
Oh.
That's how team kills are assessed now for kill reward.
So, if I had an op, I could kill 4 players and they just get $200.
No. It's not. It's always 300 if it's a TK.
It's always 300. Okay, fair enough.
If you suicide or there's a team kill, someone on the opposing team will randomly get $300.
Okay. Because otherwise, I was just thinking, that seemed like super next level meta game. Just get an op to kill all your team. Or a CZ if you want to be, more cost effective. $500 to deny them $1,500.
Yeah, that would be kind of boring to watch. I'm not gonna lie. I would hate that.
All the eco rounds are just you sit around in base for 30 seconds, discuss tactics for the next one, and then it becomes a fight to the death amongst yourself.
Yeah.
It's like denying in Dota.
Mm-hmm.
That would be quite a funny mechanic if it was there just for a joke match, though. In like a show match, one of those Ashes matches, I am Sydney. Nafani, though, turns around for the flashbang, will find one. Inters helps him out quite a bit, and Axel is able to keep himself alive because of that. A good 4 versus 3 advantage gained early on into the round. But now you have to contend with the fact that, hey, you have a farmer facing up against 2 players here. And with the smoke coming over towards CT, Speedy was actually thinking of pushing through it. Instead, it ends up being a more straightforward call where Speedy will just defend and the bomb will be planted. Easy does it. Now, you have to keep in mind Dennis is a bit far away, so by the time he starts coming in here, if Gambit youngsters have made a move very quickly, he will be a bit too late. Dennis, however, realizes the timing of the smoke dissipating, and he's timed it with it perfectly to be able to come back in here. Speedy holding an off angle where he will see the shadow first, but that means he will also fire a little bit too early. Flashback will be avoided, but Speedy is brought down regardless. Super goes for the annoying feats, and Farman in the meanwhile gets a great kill for the boost. Another one while he's dropping. Dennis swings out to deny the plant, and a 2 versus 4 rather, that's been played perfectly so far. Shiro misses his shots. First time he didn't even get the left click off before he quick scoped away.
Man, Sprout are really outmaneuvering Gambit youngsters here. This is looking like they are the more well-versed team on the map. And Gambit youngsters, it feels like in some of these rounds, they aren't really recognizing what their lose conditions are. Example in that round is just that, okay, we got the control of bracket at this point. We should probably rotate one over. But they still wanted to keep that 3-man A setup. And that was just a little bit too greedy. And maybe they just predicted wrong in that circumstance. I'm not sure what it was, but regardless, Sprout do a very good job recognizing where these players are for Gambit youngsters and seem to be just toying with them on a macro level. They are doing such a great job. Nafani, though, on a macro level, he doesn't care. He is going to control his space on the micro level, and he will try to fight to to his death, it looks like. The nades are coming in, the shots are flying, and he will find the first frag of the round. An important one, as Gambit are having such a tough time with this.
Well, Farman, he might be able to find this one, but unfortunately does have the smoke. Eagles on the other side. Patience is very much not a virtue. Sprout, come on. I feel like Sprout have never gone second mid so far. They've never gone for apartment control except for one round, and even then they went from boiler.
Yeah,
it's interesting to see that.
Yeah, it's an interesting choice. But once again, another interesting choice is met with yet another, I guess. Gambit youngsters, once again, only with the solo player towards B right now. Shiro with a great supporting flash. Super has to get something off of this. Us right here. Will Shiro find the shots? The flashes fly in once again. And Supra finally he shows. They say this round isn't done just yet. Dennis in a 1v2 situation, but look at the time. There's nothing left for him. He tries to run on forward. Gambit run the clock out and find their 6th round. A much needed one going into the second half. It looked like it took Gambit just way too long to get into this game. But once they have, they've shown some chops. If you only consider the last, 11 or 10 rounds of the half, they actually didn't do too badly, but man, did they start off very slow.
Yeah, it's a little bit hard to just consider the last 10 rounds of half. But you're right, momentum-wise, they shouldn't be feeling too uncomfortable. They have managed to bring things back a little bit. Shiro as well, with 11 kills on him, but you could still see there Supra missing a few shots on a couple of completely flashed Sprout members and whatnot. It did look dodgy for a while. Sprout, they only have themselves to blame for that round. It felt like they were very much in control in the beginning, but losing out a player for free, getting overzealous, and then moving forward. Honestly, I'm a little bit worried for Sprout going into the TC base better. 2 players inside boiler is an interesting decision, though.
We'll see how it pans out for them here. It looks like Gambit will be going for this Hall's pop, but this is a great crossfire from Sprout right now. We'll see if their setup works better than Gambit's did in the first half. Snatchy here is the first to test them. Now Bobbin peeks out on his own, but he doesn't find the headshots. It's Axel and Nafani that do that. Dennis, though, he still stands his ground so nicely, finding 2, evening the situation out, and there is no kit, though, on the side of Sprout, but the bomb is not even down yet for Gambit youngsters. A decoy comes out. Dennis is looking for the shots. Supra's the one to find it, though. And now it's just left to Speedy and Deha here.
Flashbang to truck through. Deha missing as many shots as he humanly could without really just dying immediately. And that does come through eventually, but Speedy at least gets the 1 versus 1. Both himself and Dennis got 2 kills apiece, and the rest of their teammates. They really, this is the point where you ask your team, guys, could you not just get 1 kill? 1 kill. But Gambit youngsters, they do at the very least get the start they needed. They're able to take the pistol round away. Sprout will not let this one through easily, though. They do have themselves 2 sets of MP9s plus some utility on them, so the smokes could be a major changing factor. My problem is that Speedy only has 1 flashbang, though. That could be a difficult ordeal. A double flashbang can really help out, especially over towards the B-bomb site where you have Deha with the Deagle. Nachi probably needs to start rotating back soon enough. The bomb is still in T-spawn, though. And Gambit youngsters can fetch it and go wherever they'd like to. It seems like it should be an A-site hit. with the CT smoke coming in. That's generally what it leads me to believe. But Nafania gets very aggressive, finds that one kill, and you can see the bomb rotating back. They were waiting for any sort of a pickup to come through. Plus, a CT smoke in front of the B-bomb site means that it becomes a lot harder to go in when there's 30 seconds left regardless. So Sprout, good timing on the resmoke over towards apartments, but it's not apartments where the players are coming from. Favin now has to defend with multiple deagle shots, and he's not even good for one. Snatchy backing off, probably wants to save at this point, but he will cop a few bullets while he's attempting to do so.
Good anti-eco there from Gambit. Not only does Nafani scout out the pit, he finds that kill, and it allows Gambit youngsters to feel a little bit more comfortable in their approach. And that is just solid work. It's just solid work from them. Good procedures, a low risk play overall to go for that kind of peak, and it works out beautifully. It's a low risk, but very high reward. If you find the player in the pit, you get that kill, then you're very much so likely to just take the A-bomb site, and that's exactly what they do. So Snatchy, Speedy, and Deha will remain with a few upgraded guns here, Deagle, MP9, and Scout. But it looks like Favin and Dennis will be on full saves moving forward. Gambit might be able to even things up here, unless Snatchy or Speedy have something to say about it.
Inters. That Mac 10 could really find a lot of money. So could the Nafani's MP9, actually, when I think about it. This is the ultimate bonus round for them. But at the same time, Sprout, they've got plenty of firepower to actually at least be able to get some damage. Alright, I've muted it, which means I'm not going to be getting game sounds, but hopefully things are going to be okay. Sorry folks, TeamSpeak issues are really a thing, and now we're seeing some issues coming in on towards that B-bomb site, which Gambit youngsters are trying to take. We missed a few shots here and there, but they did lose in the final ship. Now it's Axel to fall into to trade, and then into to trade again. Unfortunately, this time slightly less successful. 1 versus 2 with 30 seconds left, and the bomb has turned around and is running all the way back towards that A-bomb site. Snatchy, however, is wise to the man. And Supra, he has to be careful, so he's already heading over towards apartments. You can see his thought process. He's expecting the rotator to be watching from arches, not towards the apartments. And he might be right about that, to be honest. Plus, with the smoke, he smokes off library entirely. So Snatchy, he will be rendered almost ineffective. There is a gap in the smoke that he walks through, but with 8 seconds left on the clock, Supra doesn't really have too much time to work with. As he realizes someone already threw, that flashbang is perfect, and Speedy is left in a 1v1. Can he get anything out of this situation? The smoke is down. He doesn't have a kit. He needs his skill, and he needs it fast. He knows it. On the bright side, Supra, he only has 1 Molotov to work with, so if he wants to try and take that duel, it shouldn't be hindered by utility. But Speedy finishes things off. Supra recovers an AK-47 as well.
Finally tie game here, but Sprout will finally be on their first gun round of the CT side. We'll see if they are able to have a better time than Gambit did. This has been a good start for Gambit on the T side, but what type of map control will they decide to take early on in this round? Good nade down mid from Favin will likely inflict a little bit of damage. Doesn't do too much, actually. Axile only taking 6 points of health. And Snatchy, this duel, op v op. Snatchy gets the better of Shiro there, and that is a huge opening pick for Sprout. Taking down the opposing star player is so nice for them. They'll be able to have a little bit of breathing room knowing that an op won't be playing contact against them for the rest of the round. Likely have to see an A exec, or I mean, some kind of exec come out from Gambit youngsters at this point. Halls will be taken by Supra, but it looks like this may end up towards B, as 3 of the Gambit youngsters players are here. I'm interested to see how they decide to use Supra on a round like this. Will he just fake it with maybe an arch smoke? That could displace some of the Sprout players a little bit, but it looks like it will likely be... Oh, wow. Still actually a contact play. This is an interesting call from Gambit, as Sprout should know that it's a unlikely to see a contact play come in, but maybe that's exactly why. Nafani maybe not as proficient as Shiro, but the exec flies out. Speedy moves into a great place. Deha as well. He's not mollied out of his position just yet, but this push towards spawn from Exile actually gets a really good kill for them. Supra with the spray as well, taking down Iha, and it's a 4v2 situation. The only kill of the round being found as the first frag came out from Snatchy. So this will be a save coming out for Snatchy and Dennis. And at Gambit Youngsters, they probably don't feel like they have the HP necessary in order to hunt.
We have found ourselves in a situation where Sprout have yet to get a CT side round. They are saving enough weapons to maybe carry through, and they did have some moments where it looked like they'd even be able to win out some eco rounds. But at the end of the day, Gambit Youngsters will find themselves up 10-9 and at an economic advantage on their terrorist side, which is now an area where you ask yourself, Sprout, I'm not saying that it's too far gone. I'm not saying anything of the like. They've only, after having lost a pistol round, that basically means you've lost one gun round, but they haven't been looking very convincing. In Gambit Youngsters, their movements around the map so far have not been terrible. Yes, they did lose a few too many players to an eco, so I won't say that they are without holes, but Sprout themselves are a little bit of a holy beast as well.
We'll see if they're able to praise the gods and find anything here. Snatchy might have to ascend in this round for them here because the utility is a little bit lacking on the Sprout side. They are holding on to it very nicely, though, and it's not just flying all towards Banana as many rounds do look for CTs, and they will still have 3 smokes to work with. So Gambit Youngsters, they actually aren't too interested in B this time. They aren't interested in that Banana position. They want to take Bracket, and we'll see how they do it here. And will Sprout recognize that Gambit having gone for Banana? Will they rotate another player over quick enough? Because Speedy is very much so out of position. This is a full arch wrap exec coming out from Gambit Youngsters. So this is going to be a 2v5 on this bomb site right here. Speedy, I think he wants to make a hero play through the smoke. We'll see how it turns out for him here. He's thinking about it. He's so close to the smoke, but his teammates are now left on an island. Bobbin and Dennis have to fight for themselves. Axile just shoots through the smoke, takes down Speedy. That's the help all gone. But Dennis, he still holds the line beautifully. He gets another kill, and it leaves Shiro in a 1v2.
Shiro's ready, though. He gets the first. Can he get more? No, he can't. Deja takes it away. But Maui, as much as I agree with you that the outside player is out of position, that nade was very good. That nade really helped them out in the defense of the A-bomb side. I think it took away about 80 damage, 80 health across the board from Gambit's side. And you might be thinking, oh, 80 health across 3 players, that's not much. But when you've got only 2 players without AKs to defend, that's a difference maker.
Yeah, definitely. It definitely is something to note. It was a very useful nade for them early on, and that really helped out their defense there. It just makes it so that one-shot headshot is good across the board. It makes it so you don't have to just spray them down. It doesn't happen too much on the higher level, but sometimes that does happen where you find the headshot, you find the dink, but you don't actually get the kill, and then there's an AK player running into a bomb site with 20 health, and that's all you need, that information, that spacing, and it wasn't there for Gambit because of that. So Gambit will still have a bye here, but this may be one of the most pivotal rounds of the entire game. Round 21, both teams on 10 rounds apiece, but none of them with any money in the bank to speak of. Look at the money reserves for either of these teams. They're both so poor. Snatchy taking an aggressive angle towards mid right now, but he's flashed off of that position, and it looks like Gambit are going for a very similar play once again. They smoke off Arch. Snatchy is at Moto. He finds the first kill. That is a good shot from him, and he finds the second. Gets the kill on Axile as well. 3v5 situation off the back of some great shots from Snatchy.
Inters and company, this is where they have the metal test. The bomb is all the way back in T-spawn. Do they retreat and try and go towards the B bomb site? They can't really do so safely. Speedy's ready for the rotate, and Sprout, well, if they give up a player here, then you can see that they have a much more difficult decision actually rotating someone back to B. However, Gambit Youngsters, they've just waited out. They've waited to see whether or not someone goes towards B. They're hoping they'll find 2 players on this bomb site, but Snatchy finding another one means that is an impossibility. Snatchy backs off himself, playing defensively, doesn't want to give up his AWP for free, doesn't want to give up anything for free. So in this 5v2, Sprout are playing their numbers advantage perfectly. Inters picks up an AK-47 at the very least, so firepower is slightly upgraded, but I feel like Gambit have to save at this point.
Yeah, I'm very interested to see what Gambit have in store for us for the next round because they will be on a very poor buy, but they still have that op in play. So I don't know how Shiro wants to get involved into the upcoming round. I feel like he needs to take the duel against Snatchy. He has to just neutralize that opposing scoped threat, but maybe it will be a contact play towards B. Whatever it is, I'm here to see it. You're here to see it. We're all interested and we're all waiting. But Sprout, they take away this precious 20th 21st round and secure themselves a lot of economy off of the back of it. They don't take any casualties whatsoever, but this was so nice from Snatchy right here as he finds 2 in quick succession and even gives his team more info later in the round.
Snatchy really starting to step up right now. We talked about how potentially changing up lineups, potentially changing up structures to a place which gives opponents a lot more freedom could be what allows him to be enabled. And so far, on the CT side, it looks like that has been the case. He takes the early mid peak. Shiro has been dominated, and Axel has been given a very expensive gun to now safeguard for Shiro's next round.
We'll see if that's the case here, as it does look like Gambit are interested in a full-on B hit. Axile picks up the bomb in spawn, and they still have enough smokes to throw out a very strong execute. And the thing is, for Sprout, they don't know what kind of buy Gambit have behind that op. They know that there was an AK in play. They know that there's an op in play, but they don't know that these other 2 players still have armor. So Diha and Speedy have a great setup right now, but this is one that is also very vulnerable to good flashbangs. A good smoke timing is there, but it will have a gap in the side. Nafani is playing against that, and he knows that he can entry into this bomb site.
That's a great Molo timing, though, right in the middle of that smoke timing. And with it, they're forced to use one of their own, re-smoking themselves off in the process of doing so, too. And what are we waiting for? We're waiting for the rotate to come in. 4v3, Snatchy's in a great position. He's the one who started this round off, and he will be damned if he doesn't get more done. Diha comes out wide with the USB. Farvan's Molotov will, however, finish Inter's off. And maybe a little bit overzealous for the new box player to be swinging out like that. But you know what, Snatchy, you keep finding those kills. You keep making me happy.
Yeah, and Gambit youngsters, they actually flubbed a Molotov while they were trying to take that. They had good position right there, but it landed right at first oranges, so the new box player never had to, he was never displaced, and that is a big mistake from them. That player that was on top of oranges blocked it with his back, and Dennis, he has some confidence now. Look at him push down mid. He's going to catch Nafani. Who else will he find? Fabin now wants to get in on this. Let's see how many eco frags everyone can get in this one. Inters and Shiro remain, but Inters, he actually has armor here, but it doesn't matter as the headshot comes out from Diha. Shiro looking for a little bit more cash with that Glock, but it just does not come. $5,300 for him, and it's going to be a glass cannon. So Shiro insta-buying that one. That is some decent confidence from here, but a timeout from Gambit youngsters. They have to find out what is going wrong. Where can they get control on the map? Where is the fight? Where does the fight need to be taken against Sprout?
I hear you saying decent confidence. I raise to you the other side of the coin, which is he's a little bit angry with losing quite a few duels. It sounds like that pick down mid might have actually started getting in his head, Maui, and that is something that happens to the best of oppas in the tier 2 scene. They if you're outplayed, it's like this, okay? If you're coming out, you're really hitting some hot shots. You think you're absolutely nutty. There's a reason. So, I mean, you can see the frustration in how he's playing, in my opinion. Dennis, however, sees the gun, swings out, finds one. Can it be two? No, it can't. Supra will trade, but Supra's information has been given away. Dennis finding quite a bit of valuable time for his team on the A-bomb site. Snatchy can actually continue to hold this angle for a while longer, despite having lost control of apartments because of where Farvan is. Farvan's knife is really cool, by the way. Snatchy, waiting for the peak. That flashbang going over will not catch him out. Instead, it's Farvan fully blinded up. Gets another spray down, though. Snatchy's able to get one of his own. Shiro finally trades onto Farvan. He's still trapped inside apartments. If Snatchy is the one to bring him down, that will be trouble. But trouble is Inters' middle name. Diha is downed as Inters will continue to live up to that name of his. Speedy, now in 1 versus 2, Maui. He has chosen to go over towards the apartments.
Yeah, and this is a big round for him and Sprout. If they take this, they likely take the game, but I think Shiro may be keyed onto it. No, he's actually watching the lower portion, but he does swing in time. Good kill from Shiro, but really great round from Inters there. Double entering onto that bomb site was massive for them, and Gambit youngsters, they have to be pretty happy about that, but that was a tough round for them, all things considered. It took some major heroics for them, but they may be able to build off of it, and look at Sprout's money. If Gambit are able to string a second round in a row together here, it's going to be very tough for Sprout to justify a buy into the upcoming one. So we will see how this plays out, as banana control seems to be the point of desire for both of these teams, but Gambit may get the better of them here as they throw a half-wall smoke.
Is it desire? Or is it love that I'm feeling from that smoke?
Probably desire. It's not jump the gun.
Haven't you heard the song? Really? Okay. There's a very famous song that had those lyrics, which went like, is it desire or is it love that I'm feeling from you? Dennis, though, is about to introduce Supra to something that is neither love nor desire. It is some stone cold bullets. Speedy doing the same to Nafani. It seems like Gambit youngsters are not happy with these introductions as they continue. Diha says, why don't you want to make new friends? And as it turns out, his friends are not the very nice kind. They're bad company, Maui. And you don't want to get into bad company.
A good rotation comes in from Sprout there, which will force Axel out of his position. But Shiro, looking to save the op already, will spell doom for the Gambit youngsters as they have to just keep that gun into the next round. But look at the advanced positioning from Dennis right now. This is actually a little bit tricky right now because he may be able to take down Axel. He will, and he will now hunt down Shiro. If he finds him later in this round, it could be massive. But Shiro, he gets the kill onto Dennis and likely will save this now. But Sprout, they will still continue to push down Banana. It doesn't look like they want to push any farther than that, so they'll just hold off and keep their numbers in check. 4 players alive for Sprout in a convincing round, and Gambit, I'm a little bit concerned with their approaches in some of these rounds. It seems like they are taking some decent map control, but I've been seeing a few more drier swings than I would hope from this squad, given some of their recent success on the map. But Shiro is going to have to do just that. With no utility to really speak of, just a molly and a flashbang, he will have to do what Gambit's been doing, but do it better. He's got to come up with something big in this one. Snatchy has had his number for the entire game, but it doesn't look like the dual down mid will be his doom this time.
But yeah, it's so far, honestly, it seems like Snatchy's just been completely outplaying Shiro positionally. It looks like it actually looks exactly like hold that thought. Shiro flashed up, misses a shot. It looks exactly like when a young up and coming AWPer goes up against Device for the first time, and then you see, hey, okay, you know what? There's a reason why this guy has been in the top 3 players for the past 5 years. But Snatchy, no flashy shots, nothing, all very basic things, but the positioning is just better more often than not. And that's a veteran savviness coming in. This guy's been playing for a very long time now. Snatchy, he will get another kill. See, that's what I'm talking about. He knows when you're going to go for a play, and Dennis is here to save the day. Snatchy has guaranteed himself the getaway, and the grenade will fly through. I don't have any other A's to rhyme with, but it's fine. Molotov is there as well. Dennis, afraid of my alliteration and the fire, equally so, as he runs off to make sure he is continually going to be safe, and yet Speedy has not budged an inch from his position as the B-side anchor. Gambit youngsters have saved the AWP, but the AWP has continually not been able to save them, and that is a problem.
Axile and Inters remain. Axile getting a free 1v1 against Dennis right there, but Inters just wants to save this op into the upcoming round, and this has to feel kind of bad if you're him, because he knows he's saving it for Shiro here, but it means it's at the cost of his own buy into the next round. Shiro will drop him an AK, and I think he'll be able to afford full utility, so it won't be that bad, but I don't think he will actually even be able to afford head armor into the final round of this game, and that just never feels good, because when you're against 4 M4s... Oh, he actually does opt for the... Okay, he actually didn't take any damage at all to his armor or anything, so it was a clean upgrade for him, and he actually just barely fits all of the utility on top of that, so I'm a little bit thankful for that. I was holding my breath to see how that buy was going to look, but it's an aggressive play here once again. Oh, man. Snatchy versus Shiro. It's been Snatchy all day. Will Shiro finally get the better of him? Only time will tell. It looks like Shiro may uncrouch here. Snatchy's been so fast time and time again, but it doesn't look like the fight will conclude just yet. A flash towards T-steps, and that will actually activate Dennis here. Dennis getting very close to Banana. This might be the game right here. This might be it. If he takes this player out at Banana, that could be everything. But a smoke at the bottom actually might be saving Axile from certain doom. And now Inters popping up from Mexi very late. Should get the free frag on a Dennis. Finally, Gambit with a 5v4 advantage here.
Can they capitalize on it, though? Both sides have 2 players apiece from them, so the A side is likely the attractive destination for Gambit youngsters. Deja, they are very much hoping that he can move through, but Axel takes him down, and now you can see the dominoes start to fall. 3v5, Snatchy has to move in. He saw the foot. Can he get the kill? Moves forward, gets it quickly. Can he get another in mid? He is going to be able to keep control of the A-bomb site, because Speedy, well, he's got the information. No bomb here so far. Guys, go ahead. 2 versus 2. Maybe a 2v3 if you wait too long. Snatchy's got a great angle, but his teammate with the smoke will force him into play. Snatchy turns around. He will get one on the fadeaway. And now coming in from the side, they think he's been mollied off, but he's actually been able to move out from it. That Molotov tick, though, should have given away information. And now he's waiting for Speedy to come in. The flashbang blinds him up long enough that a player can go descend into mini-bed. Can Snatchy move forward, though? Can he finish this off? Inters, a flashbang going awry, and Snatchy still waiting for Speedy to make a move, waiting for him to bait out some T's into coming out of their bomb site. But Gambit youngsters, they're playing this so well so far. Shiro is left alone, the 1v1 that he has to win, but Snatchy says, who cares about AWPs? I'll come through. Shiro, though, says, who cares about guns? I've got Molotovs.
It felt like at that point, it was just predetermined that Snatchy would find the kill on Shiro, but Shiro finally getting the better of Snatchy in a very unorthodox way, dropping the Molotov onto the bomb, securing the round. That is the... that's the heads-up play from the young player, that he hasn't been having the best time. Some people would just have their gun out. They might think they don't have the time to throw that Molotov there, but it was exactly the right play. There was no counter for Snatchy there unless he had a smoke on top of it, but even then, the bomb was clicked down rather far. It would have been very close. Gambit youngsters, off of that victory, though, will call a timeout. They had no player survive in the previous round. They didn't even get too much kill reward off of it. I mean, there were no SMG frags at the end of the day, so they don't have too much to work with here. A Galil already comes out for Inters. They are trying to discover or just figure out how they want to use their economy into this round, and we're already seeing a MAC-10 have to come out. We'll see a Galil in play. I'm interested in the buy overall here more than anything. An for Shiro. This is really tough if you're Gambit youngsters. You have to win 3 more rounds in a row in order to bring this to OT, which is a possibility, but they have to do it with this buy here, which is going to be one of their hardest victories in this game thus far. We can see that the buy on Sprout, though, takes no hits whatsoever. Other than some missing head armor on a couple of these players, they have rather good utility, just missing a couple nades on Favin, and they even have a couple kits to work with, too. So this is a pretty good look for Sprout, and it should be one that they can convert into a match victory. We'll see, though.
Will this be the round where it all turns around? Sprout. They have excelled on their CT side so far, and it seems like the only round they lost in the previous one in recent few was off the back of Dennis getting very aggressive, and that aggression paying off. Dennis now again aggressive. This time he's able to get the 1 kill he needed in that position. Gambit youngsters forced into a place where they have to move forward and they have to move quick. Axel finds Farvan before coming onto the site, though, and that could be the big difference maker. They've got themselves a double split. This is actually a North strat they're running. Snatchy is forced to back off, and as I say, I'm going to talk about the strat very quickly. This is a full North strat, which basically relies on Dennis using the smoke inside apartments, not being positioned on balcony. The fact that he gets a kill there makes it a bit more difficult for them to run the thing. But normally what you see happening is that if the other team knows you're on a weaker economical buy, they won't position themselves that aggressively. They'll throw smoke inside apartments. When that happens, you get your smoke onto balcony. You have 2 smokes covering off pit and mini pit. 2 of your players jump down quickly, kill down anyone who's in pit and mini pit. Then they line up Molotovs. So 3 of your players jumps down. You line up Molotovs for the full site. They didn't quite run that full one through and through, and that was because of where Dennis was. If Dennis was able to get 2 kills there, that would have completely ruined that strat. That literally is a difference between whether Gambit Youngsters wins this round or not. Dennis getting 2 kills or not.
And he was only able to find 1. So Sprout, they'll still have a buy in this round, and I think they want to take it. Snatchy could drop an M4 for Favin. Dennis would be on a pretty poor buy, but Diha has the opportunity to drop him a FAMAS, actually. In fact, they will just go for a kind of a half buy on the remaining players, Favin and Dennis there, who only equip a 5-7 and a Deagle, and that was a drop Deagle, actually, from Diha. So, Sprout actually spreading their money pretty well here. The only problem is that Speedy won't have a great buy in the next round, but regardless, this round is what matters, as it is right ahead of us here. The smokes come out, but it doesn't put out the molly. This is great utility damage for the Sprout side. Speedy locking it down with a couple frags of his own, but now it's just Nafani and Shiro. Shiro, he's been the star player for Gambit in the past. Can he do it here? He wants to get aggressive towards construction. In fact, they both will. This is good initiative being taken from the 2 players, but they will actually break this apart. They won't both continue together, and there isn't actually good utility for them left over. It's a full hit from Sprout, and Shiro, he knows that this hit is coming in his face. They get smoked out of his position. He still manages to find 1 somehow, some way. Nafani at second orange is usually good for 1 at this point. He will, in fact, take down Diha, just leaving Snatchy, who's been such a good player, but Nafani finding another headshot will take him out, and Gambit will bring it to the 30th round. We're going the full distance here, folks, and we'll see if Gambit have it within them to bring it to OT as well.
I think this is going to be overtime. Absolutely. It looks like it. Sprout, unfortunately, as good as things were looking on the B side, they're not able to keep it underneath lock and key. That 1 kill through the smoke onto Farvan, that could have changed the entire situation for them there and then. They felt so pressured to go in. I don't think they had a kit, actually. Not sure about that one. I'm sure you can correct me if I'm wrong. But this time, you still have a UMP on Speedy. So Disha, he's feeling the need to get very aggressive very quickly. Can he find something through this aggression, though? That's always the big question mark. For me, Inters, he will turn around, and he's closer to the smoke, so he will see Disha first. Inters brings him down, and now 4 versus 5 with only a UMP on the B-bomb site, which is soon going to be reacquainted with Farman's M4A4. This time, hopefully, he doesn't get sprayed through a smoke. Disha, his death was not entirely in vain. They did get quite a bit of information for rotations to come through, but as is always the norm with Inferno, you're always so afraid about whether that is a fake or anything on those lines. Now Speedy gets aggressive. They will throw a flashbang forward. He gets 1 kill. He's good for 2, and that could be the difference maker. Farvan repositions as well immediately after trucking forward a smoke. So with 40 seconds left on the clock and players having been lost left, right, and center, now you can see the rotations coming in from Sprout. They're very ready to rotate in, but now they hesitate, and that could come back to bite them. Can they move forward? Information has been gained from Snatchy that there's no one inside mid, and that's why you can see Dennis moving over. He's re-smoked it off as well, so Farman, he's got a great chance to isolate some duels. He finds the first a flashbang to help as well. That's actually Shiro team flashing his Axel, and Farman continues through. He is still alive, pulls out the USP. He's going to be fighting with it, does some good damage, and that might be enough to let Snatchy come in and finish it off. 16-14. They're able to come through. What a way to win that. Sprout 16-14 that in a fantastic series. It seemed like Gambit youngsters had their number, but a great flashbang allowing the UMP to push through, find itself 2 kills. You love to see it. You absolutely love to see it.
That was such a well played round from Sprout. They lose the opening pick, but that flash there, man, it's you gotta wonder why is no one from Gambit playing anti flash?
Yeah.
But it's because they were at that very moment, and it's just lucky timing like that that puts Sprout over the edge. Great round from them, and yeah, I still am a little bit. I'm kind of not sold on every player from Gambit Youngsters there. It seemed like it took a few too many individual efforts, and actually maybe their teamwork as well drew a couple questions from me. But Sprout, I still have to be so happy for them there because
Yeah.
Speedy was such a force on the in the beginning of that map. He's one of the reasons that they were so alive in those first five rounds. It's why they got off to a 5-0 lead. He basically won 2 of those rounds single-handedly, and he wins the last round right there just for Sprout as well. And when you got players that can open up a game strong and close a game strong, that's everything you need in a winning team.
And he is the in-game leader as well. But more than that, Snatchy, man, that was lovely. Honestly, Snatchy just coming through, proving all of our doubts wrong, showing that he is a different player and a different team now. And he really chimed in on the CT side. Terrace side, less so. But come on, man, it's T-side Inferno. You're not going to opt too well over there. Guardian was the player who opted on T-side Inferno. All right, Snatchy, you're getting good. You're getting better. You're not Guardian yet, but I hope you will be at one point or the other. Maui, let's show the brackets and quickly call it a break so we can resolve our TeamSpeak issues. We do have now Sprout going forward, and if we will have the brackets on screen here, you can see that. Sprout move forward. They will be playing up against Copenhagen Flames in a best of 3 now to decide who comes through as the first team to qualify. That's going to be an interesting matchup that we'll have a bit more time to discuss in the pre-game for the next one. But in the meanwhile, Arvis versus Gambit will be happening in the lower bracket, also best of 3 to decide who will be eliminated. Honestly, Gambit, as much as you hyped them up for me, and I was personally excited too, from what I've seen, I'm worried Arvis could actually beat them.
Yeah, I think that is a total possibility there. I'm not counting out Aves, that's for sure in the lower bracket, but moving forward, I'm excited to see how Copenhagen Flames is going to handle Sprout because I'm not sure if their map pool actually matches up tick for tat. So we'll see how that breaks down as the veto comes out in just a bit, and hopefully for everybody else, you guys stay tuned and watch how or who makes it to the weekend playoffs here at Home Sweet Home Week 4.
Stay tuned, guys. We'll be back after a short break. Copenhagen Flames versus Sprout coming up soon.